Alright, this year we're running low on maple syrup, so I figured I better get my butt out there and start making some. So, yeah, basically you start by cleaning everything up. I mean, all this stuff was kind of soaked in chlorine water last time I used it and put away, so I'm just going to wash it with good hot soapy water to get everything cleaned up here. And actually this year I'm going to try using coffee cans to collect the sap, and I usually use like 1 gallon milk jugs and stuff like that, but I haven't saved any this year, so I had a bunch of coffee cans laying around, and I just poked a hole in them for to hang them from the tap, and poked a hole in the top for the syrup to go in, and got them all washed up, and this is what I'm going to try this year. And the only other thing you need is a drill with a 7/16 drill bit and a hammer to put the taps in. Now these are, the kind of taps that I'm using. There are other ones out there with smaller holes. So just kind of packed everything up in the cart, and you can see that snow's all gone. It disappeared over the last couple of days. We had some warm weather finally. There was 2 feet back here the other day. And there you can see I actually wound up putting a bunch of my butternuts in the compost because they started going bad. First year we ever had it happen, but it was a very warm winter, so I couldn't get the root cellar down cool enough until after January, and that was the problem. So here I am out in the backyard, and I've got my 7/16 drill out and the battery operated drill, and I put a piece of tape on it 2.5 inches from the end of the drill bit, because that's how deep I want these holes to be. Then you go down and you pick out a tree, and I put the taps on the south facing side of the tree, and I'll drill the hole, put the tap in, just tap it in like that, and then put a hook on and hang a bucket on it. Now you want to try to avoid any areas that have been tapped before by at least 6 inches, I think. And you also want to try to get the tap located over a big root coming up from the ground, because that's where you get your best flow from. So there you can see I've got the first one out there hanging, and immediately, I hang it up and it starts dripping a little bit. So, it looks like sap is starting to run now. It's starting to warm up. So there's the first one, and actually I'm putting out 12 taps this year in 12 buckets. And here's another tree. I'm just going to do the same thing, drill into, and I like to pull the drill bit out a couple times when I'm drilling to clear any of that little fuzz that gets created in chips when you're drilling. You don't want that left in the hole, because that can actually puff up and plug up your tap hole there. So, I try to make sure they're good and clean before I put the tap in. And another thing is you want to make sure that your tree's at least 12 inches diameter. Anything smaller, you can damage the tree. So, pretty much this is the second one, and I'm going to make you sit through all 12 of them here. And that one started running immediately after, I put it in, so that's a good sign. Now, I haven't done this in a couple of years, because we actually made 3 gallons a couple of years ago, and we're just finishing it up now. We really, like it on pancakes and waffles, and my wife makes that biscotti with the maple syrup topping on it. So we use a lot of it for baking and cooking. And then here you can see, here's another one. This one's probably about 18 inches in diameter, this tree. Same thing, the sun's out. It's right at this point in time. It says it's up to 40 degrees, but there's a cold wind blowing that really makes it feel pretty chilly out right now. So that one there, you can see it started dripping. If you're a little bit early in the season, you won't get anything out of them when you tap them. Or if it's cold out, a lot of times if it's below freezing, there'll be no flow out of them. But once the sun hits the trees and they start warming up, it just starts pressurizing the whole tree, and some of them will really, run pretty good. And I'll show you at the end when I started collecting the first batch of syrup. So there's a couple more. Now I've got about 18 trees that are big enough to tap now. My whole backyard used to be maple, ash, and walnut, and I took down all the ash trees because the emerald borers started destroying them. And then next I took down the walnut trees because they were a pain in the neck with all the nuts falling and constant cleanup in the fall and the tons of squirrels that they attracted. So pretty much I've just saved all the ash and cherry now. And there you can see that one there is, running good, starting right off. And this one here is the first year I've tried tapping this one. It's, it's a little bit over 12 inches now, so I figured I'd give it a try. And again, these battery-powered drills really do make jobs like this easier. In the old days, they used to have to do it with like hand drills. So again, the taps fit right in the 7/16 hole, and just tap them in a little bit, and they'll stay till the end of the season. Now, a lot of the newer taps, these are probably from 10 years ago or something like that, but a lot of the newer ones are actually plastic, and they only take a 5/16 hole, and you can hook tubing onto them too if you want to get it down into like a 5-gallon bucket. But these are what I'm using, so that's kind of what I'm showing you put in. And again, here I am. You can see I'm drilling that hole right over that big root by my foot there. And it's on the south side with the sun hitting the tree. So I'm hoping that, I have a good enough run this year to get myself another 3 gallons of the syrup. And then we just can it, and it'll last for, 5-6 years once you can it. And that one's really running. That one's really dripping right out of the, the gate there. That's a good sign. So I got them done, and here you can see this hill. It's a pretty good hill in my backyard, so it's killing me going up and down here. I actually walked up and down it about 4 times, just doing the videos and getting the taps in and stuff like that. And well, I tell you, it was the most exercise that I've had since last fall. So I got 3 more trees up over here on this side, maples, that I'm gonna tap into now. And again, you can see right off the bat, they start dripping there. And on a good year, I think I'll probably get like 10 to 15 gallons from each tree. Some will be a lot more, and some will be less. But that should give me 120 to 150 gallons of sap to actually cook down, which hopefully I'll get at least 3 gallons of syrup out of. And that one there, you see that one really started running right out of before I even got the tap in there. It was spurting out. But each tree is gonna have different performance levels and supply different amounts of actual sap, and the sap will have different sugar content too from the different trees, so it all mixes together and evens out in the end. So it did take me, in the end, about an hour to get the 12 taps in by the time, making the video and stuff. And there you see that one's running right off, too. Now, this is a bigger tree that I've got. Last time I put 2 taps in this tree because it's got 2 big branches coming off. But this year I'm just putting 12 taps in, so I decided to just pick this one side over the big root going up, and that should be plenty. And again, that one's dripping pretty good right off of installing it. And this tree here had some damage years ago to it that you can see in the bark there. So whenever you put a tap in, you want to avoid being above or, right in line with any damaged area like that. So I'm just going around the side a little bit and putting it out of the way, about 6 inches off of it. And then here's the last one I'm putting in is a cockeyed old tree. Kind of started growing sideways and then went up straight. But I'm gonna, just throw one tap in here, the last one. And the size of the tree doesn't always matter, how much sap you're going to get out of it. Each one will be so totally different. I think it depends on the roots and the moisture content and the soil around it and all kinds of good things. But you definitely want to get these taps out way before the buds start coming out. You want to get them out as early as you can. And there you can see that one's really starting dripping right out. So pretty much my backyard littered with metal coffee cans now hanging off the trees, and we'll come back in a couple hours and check them. In the meantime, I went inside and washed up all my food grade buckets here for collecting the sap in, and I got them all good and clean and ready to go. And right now, this is exactly 4 hours later after I put the taps in. I went out to check them because they seem to be running pretty good. So this is the first collection, 4 hours after installing them, and there you can see, it looks just about like water. It's got a slightly sweet flavor to it, and that first one there was, the can was about 3/4 full there. So these cans actually are going to be a little bit small for what I'm doing, but I'll have to do maybe 3 trips a day out to dump them. So now I'm just going to go around and show you, what I got out of each tap, and after a couple hours of them being in place. There's another one. That one was a poor performer. Only got maybe about 1/3 of a can out of that one. But it could be the sun's not hitting it right, or it's just not ready to go yet. The ground might still be a little frozen over there. And here's another one, and this one just had about a cup in it, so that guy's not doing very good yet. And then let's head down the hill again. Boy, this is killing me. I gotta get myself I gotta get the golf cart out. Hopefully the snow will be gone soon. Because it doesn't really look that steep in these videos, but when you're walking on it, it is. Alright, so let's go down and check out these over here. And that one's just about got a full can there. So that one's a good performer. So I just thought I'd show you, this. This is, just going out to collect it. And this is, I guess you'd call it the hillbilly fashion, going out there with a hand cart and stuff. But it works for me, and, I only have to do it for a couple days now. Maybe a week to 10 days. I'll be out there a couple times a day, which actually will give me some good exercise. And then there's another one that's poor performer there. That one didn't do so good, but that's kind of a smaller tree anyway. So, but I just thought I'd show you that, each tree is going to be different, and each day will be different too. So you just want to make sure you get enough taps in to, get your final amount of syrup. And again, that one there did pretty good. But this should, hopefully this gives you an idea of, just about how fast the syrup, the actual sap flows out of them. And that one was only about a half a can. And then I'm just gonna, hang them right back up, and I'll be out tomorrow morning to check them again. That one. So it looks like, maybe about a half a can is the average, and then you've got a couple, really high performers that will give you a can full, and then you got a couple that'll only give you a cup. So that first bucket's almost up to the 5-gallon level. And I brought one more bucket out too. I figured I'd get about 7 gallons, and that's what I wound up with in the end. This one here was really a high performer. You can see it was just running over the can on the ground. Can must have filled up, right after I put it on there, I think, because there's a big white spot on the ground. So this guy I'm going to have to keep an eye on. And that is that big old one too. So, might have, it's just a real good flow in that one now. And we're almost done boring you to death for this, but this is, another half can. But once the ground starts getting a little bit warmer and the sun gets higher in the sky, we'll get a lot more. And all of a sudden, I turn around, and here's my little helper coming down. My wife took her out for a walk. First time she's been in the backyard this winter, and wife can't quite keep up with her. So she's coming along slowly behind. And then I've got this last crooked tree, and that one was, about a half can too. So that seems to be about it for today. So I got probably about 7.5 gallons altogether in the buckets. And now I'm just gonna take it up to the house and to put it away for tonight. It's gonna be cool out. It's gonna drop down into the 30s overnight and stuff. And boy, I tell you, dragging this cart through the snow is like dragging a dead body behind you. It's tough to drag, but it's going to get cold tomorrow and the next couple days, so I probably won't get much sap, but hopefully I can get set up tomorrow and be boiling away at it and start showing you how I turn sap into maple syrup for the next part. So I just thought I'd, show you exactly what it takes for me to make some really good backyard maple syrup, and, about how fast the sap comes out, and then you'll get to see how long it takes to cook it down, which really is a long time. And, hopefully at the end we'll be canning up a couple gallons of syrup to last the next couple of years. And it's definitely a fun project for this time of the year to finally, get me out of the house and outside and doing some stuff. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe.